podcasts out there, but only one with this kind of energy.
Welcome to EVP Show Recaps, Predictions, Sports. Let go, show recaps, predictions, sports.
In one podcast.
Welcome to EVP Show Recaps, Predictions, Sports. Let go.
What is going on, everybody? It's the EVP from the EVP Show, and we are live for your NXT Revenge NXT Recap Show. Live. Hopefully you guys had a good Tuesday. Obviously, it's about getting close to the NBA playoffs. Last few days on the playing games. A lot of stuff going on WrestleMania week. So a lot of content going out. Creators putting out stuff every single day. It's crazy. So yeah, hopefully you guys had a good week. I'm just sending out the tweet that I am live. Try to get some people in here. So, quick couple of announcements, obviously, before we get started. Today, there will be no Sunday night scoops this week, as I mentioned before. We'll be back April the 26th, which will be next Sunday. Also, starting next Sunday will be the debut of a new show coming to the EVP Show and to the DW family. Starting next Sunday night, April 26th at 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time, will be LFG Season 3 Recap Show. So you got to make sure to set the reminder and tune in to the LFG Season 3. It's going to be good. Like Kiana Carver, obviously a big picture on NXT right now. We saw Dorian Van Dude, obviously, tonight. He's obviously on LFG. Callie Armstrong made her debut tonight on NXT. She's obviously in LFG Season 3. Kendall Gray, definitely future NXT Women's Champion. She's in LFG Season 3. So it's stacked. It's got a very stacked roster for Season 3. Obviously, Kevin Owens and Natty are going to be coaches for this season. So I'm looking forward to it. It's got a lot of people that's already in NXT that are really already have big names in the product. So yeah, definitely look forward to that. April the 26th, live at 11:30 p.m. Eastern, will be LFG Season 3, Episode 1. Well, I'll be recapping Episode 1 every Sunday night. LFG goes off. I'll be recapping it all the way to the end when we find out who gets the contracts for NXT, which, I don't know. I mean, there's already several people on the show that's already pretty high up there in NXT right now. But looking forward to see how it plays out. Obviously, Roxanne Perez's boyfriend, Drake Monroe, who's from Louisiana, is coming back for the third season of LFG. Chris Island, I believe Zena Sterling and Elijah Holyfield, Serena Linton as well, which have all been on LFG every single season. So, hopefully it's gonna be good. So, and also this is a busy week here on the EVP Show, as this is WrestleMania week. So it's 9 straight days of streaming, starting back from this past Sunday. So after today, it'll be 6 more days. Tomorrow night, make sure you guys tune in tomorrow night. What's going on, Bobby? Good to see you. Make sure you guys tune in tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time for probably the biggest show and the most amount of people that I've had on the EVP Show. We will be doing the WrestleMania 42 prediction show live here on the EVP Show tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you guys tune in to that. It's going to be a huge panel. There'll be 10 people on the screen and 2 people in the comments. And we're going to predict all 13 WrestleMania matches. So we'll start with the night 1 card and we'll work our way all the way to the main event of night 2. So definitely looking forward to that. Make sure you guys set the reminder. Come join us in the comments. You guys are more than welcome to put your predictions in the comments. Obviously, I have these prediction shows for NXT and WWE PLE. So if you ever want to be able to get your voice heard, come on camera. This is definitely a show that you can do that. Always looking for new people to come on. Obviously, I always ask the mainstays that come on every time because they like to come on. They like to do predictions. So always ask them first, but always new people are welcome here. Get on YouTube and get your voice heard. And you never know. Like once you start, you may get addicted to it and just may want your own show. So it's always good to get your voice heard and be able to get out there, and not be just all on Twitter Spaces and stuff like that. So, yeah. But tomorrow night can be a big show. Tomorrow night, it won't be dark when we start, but 7 p.m. Eastern, make sure you tune in to that for the WrestleMania 42 prediction show. So, looking forward to seeing you guys come in for that. Appreciate you, Bobby. Yeah, make sure if you guys are watching live on YouTube, you can hit that like button. It helps my stream. Thank you to everyone that tuned in to my interview with Mona. Obviously, she is on her way tomorrow, I believe, to WrestleMania 42. I believe I got 101 views on that interview on YouTube last Wednesday. So thank you guys for that. Got over 100 views on the interview with Mona. I've been in contact with a few other people. Just don't have anything really set in stone right now. But definitely going to try to have somebody else on. I don't know when. Probably way after WrestleMania. But I'm going to try to doing my best to try to get some of these other like big podcasters to come on. To try to like expand, because I mean at the end of the day we're all trying to help each other grow, and that's what it's all about anyway. So definitely send out some emails, some DMs. So you never know. I do want to thank Mona for coming on. Obviously, I saw her. She's been on podcasts everywhere this week. Body Slam. She did one with Comment, I believe, as well. She's doing one with Comment. So yeah. Special shout out to Mona for coming on the EVP show and do an interview. And shout out to you guys last night. I didn't think I was gonna get as many views as I did for the Raw recap show. Obviously, it was like I had a lot of viewers through X and stuff, but I think I ended up with like 80 views on YouTube last night. So I'm still stuck at 216 subscribers. So obviously, my goal now before SummerSlam is to try to get to 300. So be on the lookout here in the next week or two. Maybe doing some sort of giveaway or something like that. I don't know what yet. We'll see. But I'm definitely going to try to do something to try to get more people to subscribe. So if you have friends and family that like recaps and like NXT, LFG, TNA, WWE, possibly soon AEW, send them the link. It's pinned at the top of my Twitter, X, whatever you guys call it nowadays. And send them the link so they can hit that subscribe button to help me get to 300. Like I said, if I have to do a giveaway, I will. Plan on doing something anyway. Like I said, you guys help me get to 200 before WrestleMania. So, yeah, I'm definitely got some plans in mind for trying to grow the channel, trying to get more subscribers and stuff like that. Ultimate goal is to get to 500, but I have to take it one step at a time. Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in each night. So, we're gonna go ahead and get started. This is the WWE NXT Revenge Week 1 NXT Recap. Tuesday, April 14th, 2026. It was a great show. NXT never never fails to disappoint. Obviously, I talked a lot about a lot of stuff that was going to happen tonight. The last scoop show, NXT is about to have, there's about to be 3 or 4 people at least, probably 4 at least. I know somebody reported on it. Ghost of Madness reported 7. I haven't heard that. I've only heard the 4 that I talked about. Scoop, Joe Henry, Ethan Page, Saul Ruka, and JC Jane. It was also reported earlier today by Body Slam as well, or confirmed, reported, whatever. Those 4 are the ones that you are going to see on the main roster really soon. So that's why you saw Ethan. I mean, JT may have some sort of angle, obviously, where Fallon and them turn on her. But ultimately, she's going to be coming up. I think she comes to Raw. See, Saul Ruka obviously next week has a match on NXT Revenge Week 2, which is shaping up to be a good week. But we're going to talk about Week 1 tonight. So, go ahead and get started. Tonight, WWE NXT, April 14th, 2026, is from the Capitol Wrestling Center, the WWE Performance Center in Orlando, Florida. Shout out to the WWE replays. Also, we're live on Talk Up Wrestling podcast. Obviously, earlier on Tuesdays and Thursdays, make sure you tune in to Inside the Mind with Miami. He gives you all the latest updates, everything that's going on in the NFL. Obviously, he's going to be doing a big show for the NFL draft that's going to be coming up after WrestleMania. I think that's the week after WrestleMania as well. So make sure you tune into that. Me and Miami will be back once the NFL starts with the EVP Miami NFL recap show where we recap each week. Obviously, I think we had some plans to maybe do like a fantasy league, DWE fantasy league. So, looking forward to that. But yeah, that's just great content. Make sure you tune into that. Make sure you give Talk Up Wrestling podcast a follow on X and hit that subscribe button on Miami and Final Boss Radio YouTube page as well. Yeah, so good. A lot of good stuff going on in DWE. We're growing every day. Everybody's killing it. So shout out to everybody there. So this is the NXT Revenge Week 1, where we're going to see WWE NXT Champion Tony D'Angelo defend his championship against All Ego Ethan Page, plus WWE NXT Champion, Women's NXT Champion, and one half of the AAA Mixed Tag Team Champion, Lola Vice, will defend her WWE NXT Women's Championship against Fatal Influencer JC Jane. JC looked phenomenal as always in the ring tonight. So yeah, a lot going on. We're also going to see Jada Parker go 1-on-1 with Kalani Jordan, and then the semifinal match to see who is going to move on to face Lexis King in the finals for the WWE Men's NXT Speed Championship. We're gonna see DK Prosper go 1-on-1 with somebody. I talked about this on LFG Season 3, Dorian Van Doo, who is highly touted. Definitely not the last time that you're going to see Dorian Van Doo. Obviously, you're going to get Kelly Armstrong going up against the Season 2 winner of LFG, someone that I have had a personal conversation with, somebody that follows me on Twitter, X, and that is Skylar Ray. Joe Henry will be in concert. Obviously, so he's setting up a match with Keanu Carver next week. So the show opens up with a video package of WWE NXT Revenge Week 1. Big Joseph and WWE Hall of Famer Booker T welcome us to the show as Jada Parker makes her way down to the ring for the first match of the night where she will be going one-on-one with Kalani Jordan. This was a really good match. NXT just is good top to bottom. So let's get started. We get our first match of the night. It's just a regular singles match. Kalani Jordan going one-on-one with Jada Parker. Seems like they've had this match a few times, so I don't know. Hopefully they're done with this, but it's NXT, so I don't believe either lady's coming up to the main roster right now, so we'll see. The match starts off with both women locking up. They go around the ring. Kalani then pushes Jada on the break, and Jada pushes Kalani Jordan to the floor. Both women lock up again, and Kalani pulls Jada into the ropes. Jada then hits some forearms. Kalani fires back. Kalani flips over with a sunset flip, but Jada rolls through and kicks Kalani Jordan in the shoulder. Jada then slides into a side headlock. Jada then hits a side headlock takedown on Kalani. Holds on to the side headlock. Jada then sits it in a front face lock. He gets a gator roll. Kalani Jordan then escapes a suplex attempt, and Jada avoids the roll up, the O'Connor roll. Jada then hits an arm drag and a shoulder tackle. Jada then hits a back body drop. Kalani rolls to the floor. Kalani then hits a leg sweep to Jada on the apron. Kalani then stops short of the ring steps, and both women hit a clothesline to each other on the floor. Both women then return to the ring. Kalani runs into a back elbow. Jada then goes to the turnbuckles, and Kalani hits a bicycle kick to the leg, and Jada Parker falls to the mat. Kalani then begins to work on the ankle, and then Kalani Jordan hits a slingshot stomp to the leg of Jada Parker. See, we have a comment from Bobby. Wonder where Kalani Jordan and Jada Parker go from here. Do they do a different storyline and go against other ladies? I hope so. I don't believe either lady is going to get caught up. I haven't heard. I think it's time for them to go into different storylines, though. This storyline has been going on for a while. I don't know where they go from here. Obviously, I feel like both of them are main roster ready, but you can't call everybody up. So, I mean, it's possible that these two get. I mean, Kalani is with Carmelo Hayes. Obviously, I don't know if it's true, but a lot of rumors going around about Jada Parker and Jey Uso. So, I don't know. I don't know anything about all that. So, Kalani Jordan then works on the ankle. She kicks Jada in the hamstring. Then Kalani hits a knee DT. Kalani then kicks Jada and continues to work on the knee. Kalani then hits a step over toe hold. Jada then hits some kicks to get out of the hole. Jada then hits a back elbow and a boot to Kalani Jordan. Jada fires back with a back elbow and a boot. Kalani fires back, kicks Jada in the leg and puts the legs in the ropes and hits a knee drop on Jada Parker's leg. Kalani then returns to the step. She returns to the step over toe hold. Jada then countered with an inside cradle for a pinfall for only a count of 2. Kalani then kicks Jada in the leg and snapmares her into the rope to add more damage to the already injured leg of Jada Parker. Kalani then wraps the knee around the post, but Jada kicks Kalani to escape. Kalani then hits a clip on Jada's left knee. Jada then fires back with a back elbow, and she sends Kalani into the turnbuckles. Jada then hits a German suplex. Kalani then gets a cheap shot in and cinches in a crossface on Jada Parker. Jada is trying to reach for the bottom rope, but Kalani pulls her back and starts to target that injured knee again. Jada slaps Kalani across the face. Both women then begin exchanging blows in the center of the ring. Kalani then hits a spinning heel kick, but she misses a splash in the corner. Jada then hits a series of shoulder tackles. Jada's fired up. Jada then hits Kalani with the backstabber. Jada then hits a thunderous chop to Kalani. Kalani then rolls to the outside of the ring. Jada Parker goes out. Kalani Jordan then drives Jada Parker against the ringside apron. So we get back in the ring. Kalani hits a springboard cutter for a count of 2. Kalani then heads to the top rope, but Jada slaps her across the face. Both women are now battling it out on the top rope. Kalani then hits a crossbody, but Jada counters with a Falcon Arrow for a near fall, a count of 2. Jada then goes for the Hypnotic, but accidentally hits herself into the exposed turnbuckle, allowing Kalani Jordan to hit a kick and a split-legged moonsault for the 1, 2, 3. And Kalani Jordan is victorious tonight over Jada Parker. So I'm hoping that this is the end of this feud, but I don't know. We'll see. I don't know how much I'm going to play into Jada Parker being hurt. So, but Kalani Jordan with the win tonight. Or how about Jada Parker try to go after Ariana Grace for TNA? I mean, yeah, I wouldn't mind it. Something different, definitely. I wouldn't mind seeing that at all. Kalani Jordan is the winner of the match. Somebody I talked about a lot on Sunday Night Scoops was Shiloh Hill. He's in for a super big push on NXT. He's obviously the season 2 winner of LFG. He's had some really big matches over the last couple of weeks. Peter Anthony Fernandez says he hoped Triple H and his wife get fired from TKO. I think it's a foregone conclusion. Triple H might not have much longer left, but we'll see. So we see Shiloh Hill in the back, and he's playing with tools. Ricky Saint comes up, and he wants to know if he makes fun of Shiloh Hill and wants to know if he's making a time machine. Ethan Page then shows up and asks if this is a good time. Ricky Saint then says they need to talk. Ethan then says things got out of hand and stand and deliver. Ethan then says he would like to extend an olive branch after Tuesday. He then says divided, they are distracted, and together we are powerful. Ethan then says he needs Ricky's help tonight, and Ricky can get the first crack at the title after Ethan wins. They then hug, and Shiloh Hill looks on like just in disgust, like what the hell is going on. So we then get the first video package of the night. Peter says WrestleMania this year not so great. We'll watch it. We'll see. It's good on paper, so hopefully they have some surprises and swerves. Always gonna watch WrestleMania, so definitely gonna give it a chance. Just hopefully they deliver what the matches they have. So we get the first couple of video packages, taking a look at Zarya and Sol Ruka and the issues they have dealt with for the last year, and to talk about next week's match on NXT Revenge Week 2, where Sol Ruka will go one-on-one with Zarya in a last woman standing match next Tuesday. Appreciate you, Bobby. I enjoy you being here. Appreciate it. Make sure, like I said, make sure you guys are watching live on YouTube. Just hit that like button. Definitely helps me out. So Joe Henry's music hits. He makes his way down to the ring for the Joe Henry concert. Joe Henry has a guitar in his hand. Joe admits he lost the NXT Championship, and that means he needs to ask himself some really difficult questions. Joe then says he wonders if he should quit. Not quit going to that main roster. Joe then says he looked himself in the mirror and it's not the end of the road for him. Joe then says that is why they're going to have a concert. Joe dedicates his song to his NXT Championship reign. Joe then talks about Ethan Page and Ricky Saints getting back on the same page. Joe then says he wondered if Tony D'Angelo can retain his gold tonight. And right before, like you could hear it, the last, I don't know, I didn't write down all the lyrics because I was at the concert, but the very last part of it, of the song before Keanu Carver interrupted Joe Henry, he said, I wonder if I should go to, and he was about to say main roster, but Keanu Carver interrupts Joe Henry's concert. Keanu then shoves Joe, and Joe tries to fight back, and he hits Keanu Carver with. Keanu Carver will be on season 3 of LFG. He's an absolute monster. He hits him with the guitar, and it doesn't even faze Keanu Carver at all. Keanu then clotheslines Joe, and he is pounding away at Joe Henry. Security make their way out to separate both men. Fight spills to the outside, and Keanu Carver then hits Joe Henry with a spear, and he busted Joe Henry wide open. Joe Henry was bleeding profusely out there. And we will see that match next week on NXT Revenge Week 2. That's 2 matches. We have Sol Ruca versus Zarya in the last woman standing match. We're going to see Keanu Carver and Joe Henry. Obviously, there's a couple more matches. Obviously, we'll get to later on in the program. So Tony D'Angelo then cuts a promo, which was really good. I love Tony D. He said Ethan Page was the greatest NXT North American champion of all time. Tony then says he broke the Ruler's record, obviously talking about Wwe. Tony then says, you are looking at the man who dethroned the Ruler. Tony then says he will need more notches on his belt to reach the next level. Tony then says he picked Ethan because he does not like him. Tony then says you have been at the forefront of NXT. Tony then says tonight he is going to smash Ethan and his ego to keep the title. Obviously, Tony D also made a reference to Wwe defeating Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. That's promo. So good promo about Tony D'Angelo tonight. And then we see Lola Vice in her locker room, obviously warming up for tonight, and she gets a very surprise guest. We see the WWE Women's Raw Champion, and I didn't know this today until I watched her interview on Chris Van Lee's podcast. Very good interview, a little over an hour. She has been the Raw Women's Champion since WrestlePalooza back since September, so it's over 6 months. So Peter says, who really controls WWE? TKO does. Ari Emanuel, Nick Khan, all those guys. TKO controlled WWE. So Stephanie Vacour comes back there. She talks to Lola Vice. She said congratulations on winning the title. Obviously, Lola tells her to go win at WrestleMania, and they hug backstage. Good moment right there. Lola Vice says she knows Stephanie can beat Liv Morgan at WrestleMania 42. Stephanie then wishes Lola Vice good luck for tonight. 2 champions. Good to see Stephanie Vacour. So now we go to the debut of someone that we're going to see in LFG Season 3. Also, we saw in WWE Evolve, and that is Callie Armstrong. She is very highly touted. Obviously, you saw her at the end of NXT. She's one of the women that came out to put her name out there to be going up against Lola Vice. So her, Kendall Gray, Zarya, obviously Izzy Dame out there as well. Would you like to see Mustafa Ali bring TNA International Championship to NXT and defend? Yeah, I mean, anything with NXT and TNA. TNA, I think, is the weakest show right now. So I think if they could bring some NXT people over or do more involvement with NXT and TNA, I think it would help TNA a lot. TNA is definitely the weakest show right now. Callie Armstrong is making her NXT debut tonight. She makes her way down to the ring. She is going to be going one-on-one versus WWE LFG Season 2 winner Skylar Ray. but she looked pretty good in the ring tonight too. Obviously, I didn't think she would. I knew she wasn't going to win against Kelly Armstrong, but it's good to see Skylar Ray on TV. Obviously, her opposite, the male that won season 2, Shiloh Hill, he is already majorly getting pushed on NXT programming. So good to see Skylar Ray on TV tonight. The match starts off with Skylar Ray offering her hand, and yes, the shooting star Skylar Ray. She has a lot of potential. She's gonna be great. She's working her way up, slowly but surely. The match starts off with Skylar Ray offering her hand, and Kelly slaps it away, and they lock up. Kelly then pulls Skylar to the mat, and picks her up into a wrist lock, and slams her to the mat. Kelly then hits a knee to the midsection. Skylar fires back with a La Mystica, and Kelly fires back and hits a spine buster. Kelly then hits some shoulders in the corner, and she hits a running shoulder into the corner on Skylar Ray. Kelly Armstrong then hits a running power slam, and she goes for a pinfall, but Skylar kicks out at 2. Kelly then pushes Skylar Ray in the face. Skylar Ray fires back. She is very tenacious and feisty. She delivers some punches, but then Kelly Armstrong leaps over Skylar Ray and hits the abs, and she delivers a punch after a shuffle for a count of 2. Kelly then begins to work on the neck, pulls Skylar Ray to the mat. Kelly then misses an elbow drop, but she gets Ray up. Skylar Ray then gets back to her feet, and Skylar Ray fires back with some kicks, and she chops a big, huge chop to Kelly Armstrong. Kelly then hits a flying shoulder tackle and a hip into the corner. But Skylar Ray counters and hits a monster tornado DDT for a near fall. That was a really good move by Skylar Ray. She definitely got close, probably 2 3/4 right there. Skylar Ray then goes to the turnbuckles, and Kelly hits a punch as Skylar comes off the turnbuckles. Kelly Armstrong then hits another big power slam, and she follows it up with the Kelly connection for the 1, 2, 3. So Kelly Armstrong in her NXT debut beats Skylar Ray, and then she comes out at the end of the show to let Lola Weiss that she has her eyes on that NXT Women's Championship. Super great debut for Kelly Armstrong. She is going to be heavily seen on NXT television in the future. So we then see Blake Monroe and the Vanity Project obviously celebrating in the back. They're with the NXT General Manager, Robert Stone. Robert Stone says they made quite a mistake last week. Blake Monroe then says she did what the NXT General Manager asked her to do. She got the pinfall victory over the NXT Women's North American Champion, Tatum Paxley. Robert Stone then admits she earned herself a title opportunity. He then says Tatum Paxley has agreed to give her a rematch for the NXT Women's North American Championship next week, but Tatum Paxley wants to choose the stipulation. So we will see that's match number 3. Obviously, I already said that we're going to see Zarya and Sol Ruka in the last one, the standing match, and we're going to see Joe Henry go 1-on-1 for Keanu Carver. Then we're going to get Tatum Paxley defending the Women's North American Championship again against Blake Monroe in a casket match. And then we're also going to see the NXT Men's North American Championship. Miles Bourne will defend against Dark Stage Dion Lennox, which I talked about on Scoop Sunday. The Vanity Project then begins to complain to Robert Stone. They then try to consult Blake. Blake then agrees and walks off and says, "Let's go, boys," to the Vanity Project. And Robert Stone tells Vanity Project to get out of his office. Ethan Page then makes his way down to the ring for the next match of the night, as he will be going 1-on-1 with Tony D'Angelo for the men's NXT Championship. Tony D'Angelo versus Paul Ego, Ethan Page. Really good match here. So the match starts off with both men having words for each other, and Ethan Page tries to fire a punch, but he misses. But Tony D does not. He delivers with the punch. Tony then hits several punches and kicks to Ethan Page. Tony then sends Ethan Page into the turnbuckles. Tony then hits a slam and a clothesline. Ethan Page then delivers several punches and kicks. Tony then hits an Irish whip. He runs into a knee. Ethan Page and goes for a suplex, but Tony blocks it. Ethan Page then blocks the suplex, and he hits one of his own. Ricky Saints then makes his way down to the ring. As him and Ethan discussed earlier, he said that Ethan Page said he needed Ricky Saints' help tonight. But as Ricky Saints makes his way down to the ring, he is pulled out from under the ring and pulled all the way outside the other side of the ring by Shallow Hill with a rope. He has a rope tied around his leg. He literally dragged him all the way to the back. Shallow Hill's funny and crazy. Ethan Page and Tony then hit clothesline at the same time. Shallow Hill hog-tied Ricky Saints and pulls him out of the other side and he's doing that crazy laugh. He pulls Ricky Saints all the way to the back with the rope tied around his legs. So that takes Ricky Saints out of this matchup. Tony then hits a Death Valley driver, TKO, for a count of 2. Ethan Page then hits a kick to Tony and a facebuster on the rope to send Tony to the floor. Ethan Page then sends Tony into the ring steps and back into the ring. Ethan Page and Tony then begin to exchange punches. Tony then hits a reverse atomic drop and a clothesline. Tony then hits a back senton for a count of 2. Ethan Page then sends Tony into the turnbuckles and he kicks Tony. Ethan Page then hits a swinging neck breaker and then cinches in a reverse chin lock. Ethan then sends Tony back to the mat when Tony gets to his feet. I believe we will see Ethan Page on SmackDown, Bobby. I do believe Ethan's headed to SmackDown. Ethan Page sends Tony back to the mat when Tony gets to his feet. Tony fires back with several elbows to try to escape the hold. Tony then fired back with some punches, but Ethan hits an Irish whip, but he runs into an elbow from Tony D'Angelo. Tony then goes to the turnbuckles, but Ethan Page hits a running power slam for a count of 2. Ethan Page then punches Tony. Ethan Page hits some more punches, but Tony begins to power up. Tony then hits a headbutt and a German suplex. Tony then hits a clothesline in the corner, followed by an overhead belly-to-belly suplex and a German suplex. Tony then hits a spear for only a count of 2. Ethan Page then delivers a kick. Tony escapes. Ethan Page goes for the Ego's Edge, but Tony escapes. Obviously, Tony D'Angelo kicked out of the Ego's Edge. Ethan Page then hits a kick to the head. Tony hits a kick and a flying punch. Tony then hits a natural selection and a fisherman suplex for a count of 2. Ethan Page then hits a thumb to the eye to block the choke slam. Tony then goes shoulder first into the ring post when Page moves. Ethan Page then puts Tony on the turnbuckles. Ethan Page goes for a super power slam and he hits it off the top rope, but he only gets a count of 2. Ethan Page then goes up top. Ethan Page hits a frog splash off the top rope for a count of 2. Ethan Page then rolls to the floor and he grabs the title belt. The NXT Championship. He brings it into the ring, and the referee takes it away. Tony gets a roll-up for a count of 2. Ethan Page then delivers and hits the Ego's Edge onto the title belt for a count of 2 3/4. Tony D barely kicked out. Ethan Page then pushes Tony to the floor. and he clears out the announce desk, knocks everything off of it. Ethan Page then puts Tony on the table. He sets up for a twisted grand, but Tony counters. Tony then climbs over the other side of the ringside barrier and jumps across and hits a spear off the ringside barrier on the table, but the table did not collapse. Tony then throws Ethan Page back into the ring and delivers a choke slam for the 1, 2, 3. And Tony D'Angelo has had his first successful NXT Championship title defense against Ethan Page. I do believe that was Ethan Page's last match in NXT. So congratulations, the winner and still the WWE NXT Champion, Tony D'Angelo. He's got a long list of people that's going to be waiting for him. So then we see the WWE NXT North American Champion Miles Bourne walking in the hallway, and Ricky Saints is looking for Shallow Hill. Ricky says it isn't over, and we see Shallow Hill with some power tools. He's always back there in the back playing with some tools. He pulls his earmuffs off so he can understand what Ricky Saints was trying to say. Said this isn't over, and then Ricky walks away. So then we get a promo in the ring with the WWE Men's NXT North American Champion, Miles Bourne. He's all dappered up in a suit. Obviously the boyfriend of Stephanie Valcour. Miles Bourne says that Stand and Deliver, he pulled the black and gold out of Johnny Wrestling and sent him packing back to WWE SmackDown. Miles says he was standing there on his own, holding the title. He busted his ass for it. Miles says he was going to go home to celebrate with his favorite dessert, and he winked. Talking about Stephanie Valcour. Miles was trying to be funny and cute out there, but yes, that definitely would be she is very pretty. But yeah, I love what Miles did there. Obviously, trolling the IWC for sure. Miles says he gets hit from behind by Dark State's Dion Lennox. Miles says we know he's deaf, but he heard it and he felt it. Miles says all the chatter after the match wasn't about his victory over Johnny Gargano, Johnny Wrestling, but it was all about what Dion Lennox did. Miles then says last week he went Dark State on Dark State without all of their cute masks. Miles said, yeah, that will be happening next week on NXT Revenge Week 2. Miles Bourne will defend the Men's NXT North American Championship against Dion Lennox, which I did say on Scoops this past Sunday that it would happen. So Miles said he went Dark State on Dark State without their little cute mask. Miles says you stole his moment at Stand and Deliver. Miles says when you attack him, no one is safe. And then the lights go out and we see Dark State in the crowd. Dion says they have won titles and put fear into NXT. He then says he has been fingertips away from the title. He then says the slump is over. He then says their future is on your shoulder. He then says the North American Championship. He then tells Miles he can accept his fate or deny the inevitable. Miles then fires back and says if you want a title match, they can do it next week. He then says as far as your ultimatum, he will go with Plan C. He then says he will keep the title. Miles says you can have the title match or Dark State can do what Dark State does best and try to take someone out 4 against 1. He then says if you do that, you might not get the title match. He then tells Dion that he has a decision to make. Miles says he is ready. Saquon Sugar, which I talked about a lot on Scoop, so there's a lot of dissension in Dark State. And you're going to see Saquon Sugar and Dion Lennox kind of like spread apart. Obviously, go their separate ways. and have singles matches separately. They'll probably end up having a singles match against each other at some point. Saquon then says Dion is not the leader of Dark State, which I went super in depth on this past Sunday Scoop. He then says there is no leader. Saquon then says this ain't about a title match. Miles then says this is on. Dion then says they aren't doing this right now. He then says he is doing what is best for their future, and that is the NXT North American Championship. Saquon then goes into the ring, and Miles hits his Born again. And then Dark State, you can see Dion Lennox and Saquon Sugar arguing at ringside. Odd ascension there. But we will next week. As I said, we're going to get Sol Ruca and Zari in the last woman standing match. We're going to get Tatum Paxley defending the Women's NXT North American Championship against Blake Monroe in a casket match. Also going to get Miles Bourne defending the NXT North American Championship against Dion Lennox. That's 3 matches next week. And we're going to get Keanu Carver versus Joe Henry. So NXT Revenge Week 2 is 4 great matches for next week. So then we get another vignette package, video package. We see Zaria's side of the relationship with Sol Ruca dating back to all the way back to the beginning. Goes through when Sol Ruca got hurt. Zarya had to defend the title for her. When they had their tag team championship match on SmackDown. Obviously all the way until when Sol Ruca made her appearance on Saturday Night Main Event where she defeated Bayley. And then Sol Ruca competed in the 2026 Women's Royal Rumble. Zarya said it's always been about Sol Ruca, her only. So yeah, looking forward to that. That will be the end of that feud, and probably more than likely 99.9% sure the end of Sol Ruca and NXT. She is more than ready to come up to the main roster. Can't wait to see what she does on the main roster. EK Prosper makes his way down to the ring for the next match of the night. It is going to be in the NXT Men's Speed Championship Tournament. Obviously, with a short time limit. EK Prosper is going to go one-on-one with someone the first time we've seen him on NXT, but he also is going to be a part of LFG Season 3, as I mentioned at the beginning. Dorian Van Du is going to be, you're going to see a lot of him soon on NXT. So the match starts off with EK Prosper going for a Hurricane Rana, but Dorian Van Du catches him mid-air and tosses him to the outside. He then flies. Yeah, Dorian is going to be a big-time player in NXT. Oh, okay, he come from Evolve. See, I haven't watched much of Evolve, but he is really good. He's gonna be. Look for him to be he's going to be heavily highlighted on NXT, especially after all these call-ups and stuff. I love what they're doing with this Evolve. Obviously, how I don't watch it. I know it's on Tubi and I can. But I love what they're doing. They're developing these younger wrestlers. So when these people like Sol Ruca and Ethan Page, Joe Henry, and JC Jane get called up, you got people that can just jump right in. Got the Kendall Graves, or Sinclair, the Dorian Van Du, the Charlotte Hill, Miles Bourne. So NXT is going to be just fine. Obviously, we're going to miss those big stars, but we'll get to watch them on the main roster, so it works out. He flies through the air, wiping out his opponent. Back in the ring, Dorian Van Du hits a splash for a count of 2. EK Prosper then hits a moonsault outside the ring. Gets back in the ring. He hits Van Du with a drop kick. Van Du then hits a missile drop kick followed by a clothesline for a count of 2. Dorian then heads to the top rope. EK hits a drop kick followed by a hook Rana and a Shining Wizard for a count of 2. Both men then exchange super kicks. Dorian Van Du then hits Prosper with a OG cutter similar to young OG Javon Evans, who we will see at WrestleMania, six-pack ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship. He then heads to the top rope and goes for a shooting star, but misses. EK Prosper then hits a moonsault for the 1, 2, 3. And next week we will see EK Prosper go one-on-one with Lexis King. So that's the 5th match on NXT Revenge Week 2. So then you can see, obviously I think they're in Robert Stone's office, but the camera's like it's shooting like outside of Robert Stone's office. Oh, there goes my phone, as always. Oh, why do you do that? But you can see the camera like it's shooting through Robert Stone's office, obviously. You can see him arguing with Keanu Carver about him interrupting Joe Henry's concert. Get back to my notes shortly, guys. I apologize. I don't know why. I'm probably, once WrestleMania is over, I'm going to go get another phone. I'm sick of this. Alright, we see Robert Stone yelling at Keanu Carver. Keanu says it is done. No more of these Joe Henry concerts. Robert Stone says he doesn't know about that, but then says Keanu is forcing him to play his card. And Keanu says Joe will be done next week. So that is official. Like I said, we're going to get EK Prosper against Lexis King next week in the speed tournament. We're going to get Saruka one-on-one versus Ari in the last one standing match. We're going to get Blake Monroe going after NXT Women's North American Championship in a casket match against Tatum Paxley. Miles Bourne going to defend the men's NXT North American Championship against Deion Lennox. And Joe Henry is going to go one-on-one with Keanu Carver next week. So, full card for NXT Revenge Week 2. I've been talking about this, guys, on Sunday Scoop for every single week that we talk about NXT. Get a super hyped video package from Kendall Gray. Love Kendall Gray. She's going to be a mega star. She does cut a promo, and she says that this isn't her typical style to get dressed up and speak about herself. Kendall then says she lets her actions speak for her. Kendall then says she has had time to think about her last year. Kendall then says she wanted to be on Stand and Deliver in her hometown last year and was told there wasn't a good chance. Kendall then says she went to Evolve and developed a lot. Kendall then says her friendship with Ren Sinclair has helped. She then mentions her growth in Evolve from her first match to her very last match in Evolve, where she relinquished the WWE Women's Evolve Championship. Kendall then says it gave her a platform to find herself. Kendall then says it gave her the confidence to be a superstar. Kendall then says Evolve is the reason for her success on NXT, why she was the Iron Survivor. Kendall then says it was the night she knew that she belonged in NXT when she won the Iron Survivor match. Kendall then says it was great to be handpicked by the GOAT, Never Seen 17 himself, John Cena, to be in the match. Kendall then says after she won her 3rd national title in college, Julius Creed from WWE asked her, said, WWE, question mark, question mark. She said shortly after she received a call from WWE about a tryout. Kendall then said she was given a tryout, and despite being one of the smallest of the tryout, she knew this was for her. Kendall then says there is a side that NXT does not know. Kendall Gray was destined to be a star. So we then see Robert Stone approach Tatum Paxley. It looks like he had to climb up a bunch of stairs. Tatum Paxley, obviously, she does all kinds of off-the-wall stuff, but I love Tatum. She's freaking amazing. She's like laying down on some, like, I don't know what she was laying on. It was up the stairs on something. He asked Tatum about the stipulation. Tatum then says Blake Monroe keeps becoming vindictive when she wants the title. Tatum then says she is going to lay Blake to rest. Tatum then says she is going to send Blake to hell. Then you see Shiloh Hill. I guess that's what he was working on backstage the whole time. He rolls in with a casket that he made. Says it is ready, and they both begin to start laughing and cackling. So Shiloh, I love what NXT doing with Shiloh and Tatum Paxley. Tatum then tells Robert Stone that she wants to defend the Women's NXT North American Championship next Tuesday on NXT Revenge Week 2 against Blake Monroe in a casket match. It is official. It is an announcement next week. Ruka faces Zarya in the last woman standing match. Deion Lennox will face Miles Warren for the NXT North American Championship. Joe Henry faces Keanu Carver, and Tatum Paxley faces Blake Monroe in a casket match for the NXT North American Championship. And we're also going to get EK Prosper going one-on-one with Lexus King. We then see Deion Lennox in the back ask Saquon Sugars, what was that out there? He then says, Saquon questions everything he does. Saquon then fires back and says Deion doesn't even care about Dark State. He then says he's trying to be smart, unlike Saquon Sugars. Deion then says Dark State needs gold in order to get back to the top. He then says this is their only shot, so why risk it? So like I said, there's a lot of dissension back there. I expect it to probably fully blow up next week when Deion Lennox goes one-on-one with Miles Warren for that NXT Men's North American Championship. So we go to the main event of the evening, and what I feel like is the last time we will see Josie Jane in the NXT ring, and she looked absolutely phenomenal tonight. She makes her that way down to the ring. Last entrance, which I hate that group is putting up because I love the theme song, I love the entrance. She is accompanied to the ring. What I feel like is the final time with Delaney Reed and Fallon Henley of Fatal Influence, followed by the WWE Women's NXT Champion Lola Vice. And one half of the AAA Mixed Tag Team Champions with Mr. Iguana. So the match starts off with both women locking up. They go to a clean break. Lola then hits a takedown. They lock up again, and Josie backs Lola into the ropes. Josie then delivers a chop, and Lola chops right back. They then go back and forth. Lola then hits several chops. She is. I absolutely love Josie. She's freaking amazing. If I can get a Josie Jane follow, that would be like life-changing right there. I'm definitely on the hunt for that. Her and Charlotte. I've been trying with Charlotte for like 18 months. They go back and forth. Lola hits several chops after trapping the arm, and she hits a slingshot arm drag. Josie Jane then hits a wrist lock, takedown, and a leg sweep, and goes for the pin, but only gets a count of 2. Lola then hits a leg sweep, and she gets a near fall. Lola bites and hits a crucifix, goes for the pin, but Josie kicks out. Josie delivers a shoulder tackle and goes for an arm drag, but Lola cinches in the arm bar. Josie Jane rolls out of it, but Lola hits a kick. Lola then hits several kicks. Then she hits a back heel kick to send Josie Jane to the floor. Lola then goes to the apron, and she hits the, I don't know what she calls that, but it is Booker T goes crazy, but obviously she hit that. Or she kind of like what Nia Jax does, the booty to the face. But Lola ends up attacking Laney Reed on the floor as well. But then Josie Jane delivers a big, huge boot to Lola Vice. Josie then sends Lola into the apron and back into the ring. Josie then hits a running neck breaker and goes for the pin and only gets a count of 2. JC then sends Lola into the turnbuckles a few times, and she punches and kicks Lola in the corner. JC then chokes Lola in the corner. JC then hits a snapmare and a kick to the back, followed by a back heel kick and a back senton for a count of 2. JC then works on the neck. Lola Bison hits several punches and forearms. Lola then hits several knees. JC powers back with a flying back elbow. JC then hits several elbows to the clavicle, and she applies a side headlock. Lola fires back on JC into the corner to get out of the chinlock, but JC sends Lola into the corner. Lola then hits a back elbow. Lola avoids a bicycle kick, and both women hit clotheslines at the same time. You can hear the fans at the beginning of the match. Half of them are chanting for JC, and the other half are chanting for Lola. I think they all know also that Jessie Jane's about to go up to the main roster. So JC and Lola both then exchange a series of chops and kicks. JC then hits a series of kicks but misses the enziguri. Lola then hits a German suplex, and then she hits several kicks to the midsection and a back heel kick. All that MMA style. Lola then hits several kicks, and it's time for the hip shaking, running hip strike. Lola then hits a second running hip attack. Booker T is going wild. Lola then hits a belly to back suplex, and Andy C is splash for a count of 2. JC then goes for a roll up, and she gets a count of 2 as well. Lola then hits a spinning back heel kick to send JC Jane to the floor. Lola then goes to the floor and sends JC back in. Laney Reed then has some words for Lola, and JC hits a running knee when Lola gets back into the ring. She hit the She nailed her with that. She goes for a pinfall. I believe she hit her with the rolling encore, and she kicked out at the count of 2. JC then hits a running hip into the corner. JC puts Lola on the turnbuckles, and she punches Lola. Then Lola then cinches in a triangle in the ropes, hanging off the side of the ropes. Laney Reed then gets on the apron to distract the referee. Fallon then hits the tiger feint around the ring post. And JC Jane hits the rolling encore. And Lola Vice kicked out of the rolling encore, which is the move that JC Jane hit to defeat Stephanie McCord win the NXT Women's Championship. But Lola Vice kicked out. JC Jane then misses a running boot. Lola cinches in a guillotine and a body scissors. JC then gets Lola up, and Lola holds on to the guillotine on her feet. Lola uses a rope to get back into the center of the ring. JC then rolls through and gets a count of 2. Lola Vice then goes for the counter roll and only gets a count of 2. Laney Reed getting involved again, then punches Lola in the rope. JC misses the rolling encore, and Lola reverses and hits the back fist for the 1, 2, 3. And still your NXT Women's Champion, Lola Vice, and what was a classic match with Lola Vice and JC Jane tonight. Winner is still WWE NXT Women's Champion and one half of the AAA Mixed Tag Team Champion, Lola Vice. After the match, Callie Armstrong absolutely obliterates, runs over Fallon Henley and Laney Reed on the outside with a double shoulder tackle. And she gets up on the ring apron on the outside. She stares down Lola Vice. Also on the other side, we see who I've been talking about every week on Scoops and who had the promo segment earlier in the night, Kendall Gray. Then they shoot off into the crowd, and we see Izzy Dame and the Cullen as well. Lola Vice has a huge target on her back. She definitely does. Then out comes Zarya. She makes her way out to call her shot for the NXT Women's Championship. But then Sol Ruka comes out of nowhere and blindsides Zarya with a crossbody to her from the crowd. As Lola stands tall with the NXT Women's Championship belt, hoisted above her head, and the show comes to a close. What an absolute chaotic ending to NXT. Next week cannot come soon enough, which will be NXT Revenge Week number 2, where we will see Sol Ruka on one-on-one with Zarya in a last woman standing match. We'll see DK Prosper going up against Lexus King. We're also going to see Blake Monroe going after the women's NXT North American Championship against Tatum Paxley in a casket match. Miles Bourne will defend the men's NXT North American Championship against Dion Lennox. Joe Henry will go one-on-one with Keanu Carver next week on NXT Revenge Week number 2. So that is pretty much it, guys. It was a phenomenal show. I give it at least an 8.5. NXT just delivers week after week after week. NXT Revenge, which is very similar to what WWE does after WrestleMania. They're kind of doing it after Stand Deliver. They're calling it NXT Revenge. We can see the same thing with the main roster. Obviously, we'll see Backlash right after WrestleMania, which is coming up this weekend, guys. So I hope you guys are excited for that. I have a lot of content still to come this week. So I do want to thank the very few people that we have in here tonight. I don't know if there's like another show going on or what, but hopefully you guys are able to go back and watch the stream. So I want to give a shout out to Bobby as always. Thanks for coming in. Shout out to DW Replays for reposting the stream. Also, shout out to Peter Anthony Fernandez. Thank you, Bobby, as always. So that is it, guys. NXT Revenge Week 1 is in the books. Next week is NXT Revenge Week number 2 with a phenomenal card to take place next Tuesday night, and I will cover it live here on the EVP show at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time. That being said, guys, I'm going to go ahead and go to the outro, and I'll be back to tell you guys where you can find me on my socials, what I have coming up for the rest of this week, and what I have coming up for you guys next week as well. Stay tuned.
Wrestling has more than one royal family.
There are a lot of podcasts out there, but only one with this kind of energy.
Welcome to EVP Show Recap Prediction Sports. Let go, show Recap Prediction Sports.
In one podcast.
Welcome to EVP Show Recap Prediction Sports. Let go.
All right, guys, this was the EVP Show NXT Revenge Week 1 Recap Show live April 14th, Tuesday, April 14th, 2026. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thank you guys for tuning in. So I'm gonna go ahead and tell you where you guys can find me on my socials. It is scrolling across the bottom of the screen. I will let all of you guys know if you follow me on all these social media platforms. My YouTube channel is pinned on every single one of these platforms, as well as Facebook as well. So if you follow me on X, it is at the very top of my page. So like I said, make sure you guys, if you have friends, people that you know that love wrestling content, just send them that link. It is pinned at the top of my X page. But if you're not following me on X and you're looking for me on X, you can find me. You can type in at EVPCJP and find me on X. And once you do follow me, I will follow you back if X allows me, which I don't know why they limit me with all that shit after about 15 or 20 of them. But yeah, if you guys are following me on X, make sure that you look up at the top of my page. Have I gone to Puerto Rico? Yes, I have. I've been to Puerto Rico. I have a lot of family there. Several cousins and aunts, folks that live there. Grandmother from there. Yes, I have. But so yeah, if you're looking for me on X, you can find me EVP2JP. My YouTube channel is pinned at the top, so make sure you guys retweet that and send it to your friends, all your friends, if you think they want to tune in to some wrestling content. If you're looking for me on Instagram, you can find me at the same handle at EVPCJP. On TikTok, if you're looking for me on TikTok, it's at Brady the Goat 21. At Brady BRADYDA Goat 21. It's not THE, it's DA Goat. At Brady the Goat 21. On Instagram, it is a business account now, so you can see my YouTube page pinned at the top of my bio. You'll see all the videos that Miami and Greg make for my upcoming streams on Instagram and TikTok. Last but not least, most importantly, if you guys did watch the stream live on YouTube tonight, please make sure you hit that like button on the stream. That does help my stream and the algorithm. So I definitely will appreciate it. And if you guys are able to go back and watch the stream later on or tomorrow or whenever you can, make sure to hit that like button. That helps me out with my channel. So please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you're not already subscribed, like I said, you can find it on any of those platforms that I mentioned before. Twitter, X, whatever you guys call it, Instagram, or TikTok. If you're not already subscribed and you're looking for it in the search engine on the top of the YouTube channel, YouTube, all you have to do is go and type in at the EVP Show. You will be able to find my page. There are so many different lives, obviously a lot of shorts, and I have a pre-recorded video on there. I think I'm up to 216 subscribers. Had a very good showing last night for Raw. NXT kind of fluctuates. There's a lot of shows on tonight. I know JD and Solid Monster do a big show on Tuesdays. Obviously, Denise is doing a show right now. So a lot of people are doing NXT shows. They're doing shows on Tuesday nights. So it's my NXT show, they fluctuate. I have had a couple. I do believe I've gotten close to 100 views on YouTube before on a NXT show. So yeah, make sure you guys follow me on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. Help me get to 300 subscribers, guys. By SummerSlam, that is the goal. We have several months, so let's make it happen, guys. Hit that like and subscribe button at the EVP Show. Turn on your notification bell if you already are subscribed to the EVP Show, and you'll be notified when I go live. So what I have coming up next, tomorrow night is the big night. It will be the biggest show I've ever had, and the most amount of people I've ever had on the EVP Show at one time. Tomorrow, hit that notification bell and come join us in the comments and make your predictions. All the GOATs, several huge names in the podcast and the IWC community. Tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern is the WrestleMania 42 prediction. So make sure you guys hit that notification bell and come join us. If you're not in the stream or on the prediction show panel, you can put your comments and predictions in the comment section. So look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern for the WrestleMania 42 prediction show. And then Thursday night, I'm back at 11:30 p.m. Eastern for your TNA recap show. Friday night is the Go Home SmackDown right before last show, right before WrestleMania. Obviously, it's going to end. And my recap show is going to start right before the Hall of Fame. But join me at 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time Friday night for your SmackDown recap. And then Saturday night, when the dust settles from night one of WrestleMania, join me at either 10:30 or 11 p.m. I have it set for 11 at this period of time. It could be earlier. Depends on when they wrap up the post show. Join me Saturday night, say between 10:30 and 11 p.m. for the WWE WrestleMania 42 Night 1 recap show. And then Sunday night, but there's no scoop Sunday. So Sunday night, join me at 10:30 or 11 p.m. Eastern Time for the WWE WrestleMania 42 Night 2 Recap Show live here on the EVP Show channel. Next week, I'll go ahead and give you the schedule because it is pretty much all made and put out on YouTube. Besides TNA, everything else has been put out on YouTube. So after that, Monday, I will be back here live at 11 p.m. Eastern for the Raw after WrestleMania and your Raw Recap Show. Tuesday, I'll be back again at 10:30 p.m. Eastern for the NXT Revenge Week 2 NXT Recap Show. The next Wednesday, I will be off. Like I said, it's a nine days straight. I'll be going, but next Wednesday, I will be off and stream. Then next Thursday, you can tune in at 11:30 p.m. Eastern for the TNA Recap Show. Then next Friday night, you can catch me live for the first SmackDown after WrestleMania for the SmackDown Recap Show at 11:30 p.m. Eastern. And then Saturday, I am off again, so it'll be Wednesday and Saturday. I will be off next week. I have no idea who that is. So then next Sunday, tune in. Next Sunday, Sunday Scoops will be back. So tune in next Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time for Sunday Night Scoops with the EVP episode number 18. And then come back later on that next Sunday night, April 26th, for the season premiere, season debut at 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time for your LFG Season 3 Recap Show, episode number 1. That will be next Sunday night at 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time. That being said, guys, that is it for your NXT Revenge Week 1 NXT Recap Show. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the NXT. I will hopefully see you guys tomorrow. It will be a big, huge show. Like I said, the WrestleMania 42 prediction show. There will be 10 people live here on the camera predicting all 13 matches for WrestleMania and 2 in the comments. That being said, I am the EVP from the EVP show and the golden boy of DWE. DWE is the place to be. I will see you guys tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern live for the WrestleMania 42 prediction show live here on the EVP Show channel. Make sure you guys hit the like button on the stream tonight and hit the notification bell and come join us for the prediction show tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern. Hope you guys enjoy your Wednesday, and I will see you tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern for the WrestleMania prediction show. Good night, everyone.